his leprosy. It's the fact that he believed that he could, right? And he did it, at the latter times of his years, however old he was, after having it for so long, he still believed that Christ could. And that right there shows you the power, which is it's a gift too, the gift of faith. It's a spiritual gift too. Just how important that is over the other gifts that we may, fantasize about, like teleportation and, raising the dead and things like that. Like, what about the spirit of faith? What about the spirit of wisdom, of knowledge? And if it's through these, we gain all the other gifts. Right. So I always like to emphasize this in the class. It's just the importance of us realizing it's a gift to be able to sit down and talk about this, like we're talking about it now, and see what the scriptures are saying. That's a gift in itself, not to be taken lightly. And it leads to all the gifts.
Right, and consider also what he probably went through. Right? When he got leprosy, or however it happened, consider that whole trial and tribulation of having leprosy and being an outcast.
Right.
Oh, just that when it's that spot on it, like the process. Oh shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But now it's full. But now it's full blown, and now people are treating you in a certain manner, based on law. Right? Imagine how that must feel. Then he dealt with that for some time. And now to have Yahushua come and potentially heal him, right? That's something that we right now, unless we walk through that shoe, sometimes can't understand unless you're going through leprosy or you're going through this or you're going through that, right? But that reward that they felt, man, that's on a high level, right? I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna go to St. John real quick. And to consider what reward the Most High and Yahushua have in store for these people who have gone through these things, right? This is St. John. I'm going to start the 9th chapter. And the first verse. St. John 9:1.
It's crossed our mind too, as I was commenting.
Okay. It says, and as Yahushua passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? So now, this story here always ties us into reincarnation, because it lets us know, and it lets us know that the disciples knew that you can be held accountable for things that you have done in a past life. Right? Because the man was born blind, so it wasn't anything that he had done at that time in order for that to happen to him. It had to have been something that he had done in a previous life that he at that time didn't know nothing of. But the disciples knew that this is the case. It was common to have that understanding. So they asked Yahushua, who did sin, who transgressed, who broke the commandment of God that this man was born blind? Was it him or his parents? Right? I'm going to read it again. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Yahushua answered, neither have this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of the Most High God should be made manifest in him. Right? So it wasn't about what he had done. It wasn't about his mother and father. One of them was on drugs, or one of them had done something that caused the fetus to mess up and come out that way. It was neither one of those things. It was so that the works of the Most High could be made manifest in him. So it was something that the Most High and Yahushua, like Paquan said, is set up that way. And when Yahushua saw that man, boom, he was healed and made to be able to see. So now he was going through all his life blind. Something that we take for granted that we have. The majority of us have our quote-unquote 5 senses, but they're more. We have our carnal 5 senses, and we can see, taste, hear, touch, smell. He couldn't see. Now, I know something else is probably enhanced. That's what they say when you lose a sense, something else gets enhanced, whether it's your hearing or something. But he went through his life without being able to see and then have that happen. So now understand what he was going through. As whatever age as a man he was, he now, knowing that what just happened to him and what Yahushua was doing, right, it changed his whole scope of his whole life. Right? His whole scope of his whole life. Just based on Yahushua coming and doing that. His presence being able to do that. Right? We read about the man named Simon at the birth of Yahushua. He said, I can't see death until I see Yahushua born. Right? So he waited his life until the baby was born. And when the baby was born, he said he went and grabbed Yahushua's baby up. And was like, here's the salvation right here. And that was it. He could just say, that's it. I've lived my life. I'm good. I'm good. Right? Nothing else matters to me, man. So all these things, man, when we understand people and their personal trial, their personal tribulation, their walk, when these things now come new to them, yeah, we all go through something different. You know, someone could say, well, I went through this all my life. Or he said, I went down here. I used to travel and tried to find out. I couldn't see it. Man, I just been here in the ghetto selling drugs. I always wondered about this. The person said, man, I used to think there was no Christ. And all of a sudden, boom, it hit me. It just came like a revelation. So everybody going to have their own testimony, their own story, and it had an effect on them to cause us to do what we're doing right now. So when we see people being physically healed, it didn't start physically. It wasn't so much that they was healed, that the leprosy was removed. He had that faith in him already, just on hearing, right? Just on the hearing of what was going on pertaining to Yahushua and what Yahushua was fulfilling. His faith was already built up. So the healing part was a small thing. That was a small gesture, right? The most important thing was his faith was already built up now. All right? So let's go back to Luke 5. So that was St. John 9, chapter 9, verses 1 to 4. And now we're back in Luke 5 and 13. It says, and he put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will, be thou clean. And immediately the leprosy departed from him. So again, we know Yahushua has the power to remove the disease, infirmity, let alone just the evil spirit out of a man, right? And the leprosy departed. So that means his skin just came right back to his normal complexion, right?
That's another scripture that he is, so-called white people, they got leprosy of the skin.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Something.
Verse 14. And he charged him to tell no man, but go and show thyself to the priest, and offer for thy cleansing according as Moses commanded, for a testimony unto them. So you read about that in Leviticus the 14th chapter as far as for the whole law pertaining to leprosy. But Yahushua again told the man, don't tell nobody, just go and offer up the offering according to the law of Moses. And I'm pretty sure when he went to the priest to offer up the offering, and he told him what happened, then Yahushua's fame even, became to be more prevalent throughout the coast. Because it was like a second-hand thing. Like it wasn't somebody like, come look, come see. No, he would always say, don't say nothing. Go in town. Go see the priest. Go here. And that became even more of a stir among the people. When somebody tell you something and it's right there, your imagination starts to wander. It's like, what? He did what? Sometimes the story starts to even get embellished.
Right.
A 30-yard game winning field goal. No, 20 years later, it's 74 yards. Yeah.
People start embellishing on the story to make it sound even better.
Yeah, the sky got dark right before you did it.
The sky got dark out.
What is version of the story?
I think he used people's rebellious against them because he know that. So therefore, by telling them no, don't do it, you're gonna do it. The great wow.
And Christ is like, yeah, and thus their faith is increased. I win.
Right. So verse 15 says, but so much the more went their fame abroad of him. Right? So even though as much as he tried to suppress and say, don't say nothing, it still happened. It still happened. What happened to you? I thought you had it. How's you talking to me?
We played the phone off. Up and off.
Sound like somebody was down. See if we
got you. I got you.
So as much as he had them or charged them not to say anything, when they went and people saw what was done to them, they had to explain what happened. So it was like, yeah, who was he at? Oh, he was over there. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Sit down. I got to tell you this. And the fame just started to, multiply across the region. It says, and great multitudes came together to hear and to be healed by him of their infirmities. And he withdrew himself into the wilderness and prayed. Right? So, as much as he went out and continues to do the healing, the teaching, increasing the people's faith, we read throughout the Bible that Yahushua would definitely always go and pray. Right? He would take some time out to go and pray. So this is something that we have as a spiritual power with us, with the Most High, because we can go and pray and get rejuvenated, replenished. It builds up our spirit, keeps our trust and our alliance on the Most High, as opposed to just thinking that you can do everything on your own. Because that's a spirit that comes upon us too. When we don't come to the Most High, when we don't have direct interaction with the Lord, you feel that you're the one that's doing things. I got this job. I got this car. I got that woman. I did this. I have my kids. But not knowing that all these are gifts from the Most High. But now those gifts can be turned by Satan or used by Satan to poison your mind if you don't keep a clear mind. If you don't know from which your blessings come from. Right? So it says in verse 16, and he withdrew himself to the wilderness and prayed. And it came to pass on a certain day, as he was teaching, that there were Pharisees and doctors of the law sitting by, which were come out of every town of Galilee and Judea and Jerusalem. And the power of the Lord was present to heal them. So now you got all these people now, as much as the fame went out, you got people that's coming to see this person now. Doctors, physicians, lawyers, everybody's now, I want to see this firsthand. Right? Verse 18. And behold, men brought in a bed a man which was taken with a palsy. And they sought means to bring him in and to lay him before him. So this person had a real, terrible disease. And if you ever seen somebody with a palsy, sometimes they have what they call cerebral palsy, which is up in your brain and affects your whole being. And you got palsy in other areas. It doesn't have to be the brain, but you can have that situation amongst you. I found out that Ashton Kutcher's brother had a palsy. But when you see him, he doesn't look like someone who had a palsy. He's his twin brother. But here it doesn't say what type of a palsy, but we know that this is a palsy that he was bedridden. Right? He was succumbed to his bed where he couldn't move around on his own. So that's how they was able to transport him around, was by his bed. So it says that they couldn't find a way to get him in because there was so many people there. So imagine, right? If this is the Messiah, he's teaching and healing, you're going to be at his crib all the time. You're going to be with him all the time. Where you going? I'm going to Yahushua's house. Well, he ain't there. Well, I'm going to wait for him. I don't know where he went, but I'm going to wait at his crib until he comes back.
Intense.
Right? So they couldn't find a way to get this person in to be healed because there was a massive amount of people that was coming to be healed. So it says in verse 19, and when they could not find by what way they might bring him in, because of the multitude, they went upon the housetop and let him down through the tiling with his couch into the midst before Yahushua. So I don't know how they did it, but they managed to get themselves and this person up through the roof and then let him down by his bed or his couch into the midst of Yahushua. Verse 20. And when he saw their faith, he said unto him, Man, thy sins are forgiven thee. Right? So again, it was based on his faith, or their faith, that Yahushua was able to heal him of his infirmities. Right? I know this is one of the verses that brothers would use as far as for slang in the scriptures. Right? Man, this is a hill, man. Right? It's one of those things that Israel Jink uses as a form of speech or rhetoric when we're talking to one another. Man, where you been? Man, where you going? Right? And we see the disciples in Yahushua throughout the Gospels, they spoke like that too. They would precede their sayings with man and their sayings. It's not like he didn't know that he was a man. Right. But it's just how the form of expression of speaking to one another is still carried over even to right now.
Like I'm black and beautiful. Song of Solomon 1-5.
Verse 20-21.
Thanks for agreeing with me, bro. Appreciate it.
And the scribes and the Pharisees began to reason